Hello, Cindy here with Create Your Own Luck and Love. I support women and men around attracting love that resonates in their hearts and really understanding your emotional triggers and how to release those. So all about attracting in your man and healing any of those emotional triggers that might stand in the way that are blocking you from really having the partnership that you desire. So, who wants to take responsibility for having an amazing partnership? Who wants to do it today? Yes. If you do, just put yes down below. Anyway, today I'm talking about 4 behaviors that scare men off. There are a couple more that I may or may not have time to mention, but I know this is something that can cause a lot of confusion for women, and sometimes the very behaviors that scare men off might feel counterintuitive to us, or we may be doing it without even realizing it. So that's what we're going to talk about. So the number 1 behavior is playing games. So men actually sense it when a woman is playing games. And let me expand upon that a little bit. So let's just say he texts you and he hasn't texted you in a couple of days, and maybe you're a little upset, so you want to punish him and you don't text him back for a day or 2. That's playing a game. And, or if he hasn't asked you out for the weekend and he calls you last minute and asks you out, you tell him no, even if you don't have plans, because there's a withholding or punishing. That is out and out a game. It really is. And the thing is that men, they actually pick up on behaviors that you're not aligned with. Like if you're out of whack or you're acting kind of awkward, and you guys, I get it. Dating can be awkward. It can feel weird and like an out of body experience. That's, part of the reason why I coach my clients around getting out there, meeting a lot of different people so that it becomes easier and easier as you do it, and kind of making it a game, looking for something that is really amazing in each of the people that you encounter. So it's one piece, playing the game. So just, and playing a game can also include not being your authentic self. And you might be thinking, gosh, Cindy, I hear these things about stepping more into my feminine, which doesn't feel authentic, and, doing certain things that, it just doesn't feel like me. So, well, yes, I believe that, being in your feminine, which is in flow. So when you think about being in flow, it's like, allowing things to flow, not being the one, and I talked about this on Friday, you guys, not being the one that's the planner and doing and moving things forward. That's the masculine energy. So if you stay in flow, like allow yourself to receive, then that just keeps you in the feminine energy and not to overthink it. Okay, so that's number 1. If you have confusion on games, if you have to think about it too much, it's probably something you're strategizing about. Now, I'm not saying that every time a guy texts you, you should answer him right away. I think there's a happy medium within that, because men really value women that have other things going on in their lives, and they don't answer all the time right away, and they're not at their beck and call, right? So there's a balance within that. The next one. And this kind of goes in with playing games, I believe, and this is something that I can tell you I used to do. And I didn't even realize it was literally man repellent. And this is a big one, you guys. It's being aloof, or, not actually letting a guy know that you're interested. And, you know, and let me clarify what that looks like. That would look like, I mean, you might be thinking in your head, oh, I look at him, I smile at him when I'm on the date, I touch his arm. It gets to be verbal as well as nonverbal. So, I mean, maybe you're a beautiful woman and you're smiling at him and maybe you're touching him and he's thinking, well, I think she's interested. She may not be. She's not giving me affirmation. I don't know. And guys get confused nowadays. So let it be easy for them. So if you're too aloof, and a lot of times you guys think if I compliment him, it's I'm being vulnerable, which is, I'm just going to say it's bullshit, you guys. You want to be complimentary. That actually brings in a man. If you don't hear anything else I share today, that one thing will is like, you know, if you think he looks handsome or you think he's handsome, like, man, I'm the luckiest girl in the room. I've got the handsomest guy in here. Shh, don't tell anyone. You know, things like that. Have some fun with it and really be complimentary. Gosh, I really appreciate a man who does this. Gosh, I really, you know, you look really, you know what I mean? I would love to, I love it if we went to that concert on Friday night that you were talking about. You know, I definitely say yes. You just want to give him affirmation so he knows, okay, she is for sure. She's, you know, and a lot of times if you've been hurt before, and all of us have, there's a wall built up. There's some trust issues around, is this guy going to really show up for me? Well, the key is not to get invested too soon. So that effect, the compliments, the appreciation, the gratitude piece that actually does what you want, which is to bring him closer, not push him away. Okay, so that's the next one. This one is interesting. Well, I've got a couple of them around this, but this one's interesting. So an attitude of entitlement. So what that looks like is maybe, you know, I'll just paint the picture. Maybe you're going out with a guy and you've gone on a couple dates and he talks about a great place to take you to, and you know, he's taking you to Applebee's or something, and you're used to 5-star dining or 4-star dining, and it's, you know, and maybe you start talking about it. Like, oh, well, I usually do this, or I usually only order wine from this place, or, you know, you're sharing something in that aspect, which, you know, makes you sound not really approachable and entitled, and it's a real turnoff. And let me flip that on the reverse. There are many men out there that have achieved some financial success, and they're used to women even taking advantage of them for their generosity. And so how to create the opposite effect of that. And, you know, maybe there's an expectation in your mind that the guy should really take you to a really amazing restaurant. When you're just getting to know someone, you know, be open to the experience. Be open to what that, you know, what's unfolding between you guys. You know, whether it be coffee or, you know, a nice walk along the waterfront, wherever you're at. And, you know, looking at it as getting to know that person. And then the, you know, the more invested he is, the more he'll start to do those things. Or, you know, some men will just do that kind of thing up front. The biggest thing to do is make sure that you're really gracious and really grateful for the meal. really grateful for the experience you had. Maybe he decides to take you on a hot air balloon ride with chocolate covered strawberries and champagne or something like that. I had a client that a man did that with her. And how amazing is that? It's, being really grateful for no matter what it is. And, there's a key. Some of the more successful people are really humble and grateful for the time people take, for the things, the interactions they have. So being grateful, it goes a long way when it comes to creating connection and doing the opposite of what you want. And, sometimes we don't even think that we're acting entitled, and it could be the aloof thing that's going on. So maybe you're just, oh, thanks, that was really nice. And, you want to really be almost over and above what you think he wants, what you think is appropriate. If you go a little bit over and above, he's going to love it. He's going to be doing cartwheels in his head. And because he's with someone that actually really appreciates him, appreciates his efforts, and that's huge. And they show that, right? And a lot of times men reciprocate that. I think it's a lot easier for many men in the beginning to give a lot of compliments to women. And I think sometimes as women, we start to get used to it. And then if it doesn't happen, or it doesn't happen consistently, there's this questioning, does he not like me? Well, are you doing things to actually push him away? So, I would invite you to answer that question for yourself. So the next one, oh gosh, there's a couple of them that are really important, but I want to talk about this one. The next one that's really, really important is emasculation. And I know that word is thrown around a lot, and it can be confusing. So let me just break it down really, really easily for you guys. And this will help you if you have sons too, if you have boys in your life, any kind of man, whether it's in your workplace or a man you're trying to date. This is something that's really helpful, is not emasculating them. So emasculation is simply not believing he can do the job, or not believing what he's saying or doing is true or right, and that you can do it better. Maybe you can do it better in some cases. So, and maybe in many cases. However, if he's doing something for you, maybe he's, doing a small repair on your house, or changing a light bulb that has a special light bulb, and it needs to be screwed in a special way. Instead of taking it over, trying to tell him what to do, let him figure it out. Because a man is empowered by figuring things out. It's the same concept as men hate asking for directions, because they like to problem solve. They like to figure things out. Now, if there's something that he's doing that maybe you're a little bit better at, and you see him struggling, you can, ways to insert yourself or interject is say, hey, may I offer some feedback? Do you mind if I offer some feedback? Or what's another way to say it? Or, would you mind if I, shared something about this that might be helpful, right? So just saying that, asking for permission. Do you mind if I offer some feedback? Or would you mind if I, offered a little bit of support around this? And he will appreciate that because, one, you're addressing him with respect, you're asking for permission. So just remember those two things. There's putting him on a pedestal is another one. So men feel it when a woman puts a man on a pedestal, like he can't do anything wrong. And men know themselves, just like we know ourselves, that we're imperfect. And if a woman says something, or she's erring to the fact like you're perfect or you're the perfect man, he feels a lot of pressure, and he knows he can't actually live up to that. And he actually feels like he's not being seen as a real person. He's just like this perfect version of what you've made up in your mind, and he's not. So it turns them off. It repels them like crazy. There are some other things. There's like, jumping into an instant relationship can be a big one. Maybe you go out on a date, the first date, and it goes really amazingly, and he's calling you, you're calling. It's like you start going into an instant relationship too much too quick, and it feels like too much. It's like you're, by the third date, bringing half your wardrobe over there, being a little over the top. But, imagine if a guy proposed to you on a first or second date. It's a bit much. It's a bit excessive. So, there's actually a building up of, connection that builds to commitment. And if there is a true connection there, allow it the space to develop. And, again, a healthy man feels it. If you're, all of a sudden in an instant relationship, you're giving up your life for him, which you should never do anyway. But, I hope this helps you guys and helps give you clarity on the behaviors that scare men off and ways to counterbalance that. And if you're struggling in dating or relationships, you get to a certain point, or you see yourself in this constant merry-go-round of, on again, off again, in or out, 0 to 60, and it doesn't work out. I would encourage you to work with a coach, do some deeper work that will open you up to, one, seeing your blind spots and those patterns that we all possess, and supporting you around creating what it is you truly want, that deep connection, that partnership. And if you're in this place and you feel like you're beating your head up against the wall, and you've watched a lot of videos, you've read a lot of books, those will get you so far. It's just, getting to that next level about where you're at. And even if you've done work on yourself is awesome. I feel like we should be doing personal development our entire lives. I mean, I commit to at least one form of personal development every single year. And ever since I've been doing that, whether it be, physical, mental, emotional, I mean, there's always something I'm learning and growing, one, so I can share with you guys and support my clients and really getting to that next level of what they're creating. So if you guys are in this place where you're feeling a bit challenged, feel free to DM me and, ask me ask me anything. And I'm here to support you in helping you get over that hump to that next level of really creating your own luck and love. Have an amazing rest of your day, you guys. Thank you so much for joining. If you're on YouTube and you see us here, you like the video, press like. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. You can, I think, press that little bell there. And we literally put videos on almost every single day. And if there's a topic of, you know, something special that that you want to hear about, please, please, please let me know. All right, awesome. Talk to you soon. Bye, everyone.